If you're out there committing text box murder, I need you to stand up straight for your mugshot. Front profile, and then your side. Turn to the side. Turn. All right, take the shot. Listen, we cannot be making these mistakes anymore. Let's fix it. Hello. My name is Cynthia Akita, and I am a brand strategist and a brand and web designer here at the Design Pharmacy. Welcome to this episode of Make It Your Own Design Academy. All right, now today we're going to be talking about text box murder. Some of y'all have been killing it on these templates and not in a good way. All right, so please, we're going to fix it today. Now, we're going to talk about text box murder. I'm gonna show you a picture of what that looks like up here. All right, so I just wanted to add a bit more context. So pardon me for any background noise. You'll just be hearing my little ones. So the first example you see on your screen, I'm sure maybe for some of you, you're wondering what is actually wrong with it, right? And so with every design, there are boundaries that are made. Sorry for the noise. There are boundaries that are made. And so here with this first image, you'll see that there's a lime green shape on the page. And with that shape comes a boundary, right? The sides of that shape constitute the boundary that anything inside of it should stay in, basically. So when you see the text here with the draggy gummies, halva gummies, chocolate, all that, cupcake ipsum is what it's called, you see that the text is going beyond that boundary that is set. So that is the first error. And while in some cases that can be done intentionally, in this case it is not. So you see that the text is going over the green box, but then you see here that there's a line under the love powder ice cream line. There's a thin line there, which also represents another boundary, which was overstepped. And we don't like it when people overstep our boundaries. So in design, we also respect the boundaries that are set there. Now, when we look at the title of this post or this design, you'll see that it's also overstepped its boundary by stepping into that green box. And so that's typically what is generally wrong with a lot of the graphics that some of us are making, where we've overtaken some of the boundaries that have been set to keep the graphics and the designs nice and proportionate, allowing breathing room. Because as we are reading, even if you're reading mentally, like with your mind and not aloud, you still need like cues to help you take breaks, to help you breathe. And that's what spacing does. And so when you overtake some of these boundaries, it affects the way that people consume the information. All right. So that's the issue with the first design. And then now the second one, the same thing. So we have these quotation marks accompanied with lines which have set a boundary. And you could see that with the purple box there. Now the text goes over that boundary. And so again, you've crossed over the boundary, is just what it is, right? The text should essentially stay, or the template was designed for the text to stay within this frame here. So for example, if I make this text smaller, which I'll talk about more later on in the video, if I make it smaller then and center it a little bit, then I've stayed within that boundary and I've respected the space that was made for the text box. All right. And then the third design here we've just completely lost it all. So first of all, the design shouldn't be at the edge of the graphic, right? That's the first mistake. And the fact that the text is stretched out all over means that some text is not seen because of this beautiful imagery that is in the background. Now, when this design was created, the text was only on more so on this side. It covered some of the top above the boat, but it was designed so that the boat, the beautiful picture here, could be seen. And so when you overtake those boundaries and disrespect those lines, then you kind of mess with the original intent of the design. Now, with Make It Your Own Design Academy, I'm definitely teaching you how to make these graphics your own. But in making it your own, your best chance for success is to respect the boundaries that are set. Now, another thing that's wrong here, aside from the fact that the text is all the way down at the bottom of the page, not leaving space for breathing room, is the fact that the person, or not the person, because it's an example, right? But you can see here, there's a space for you to put your Instagram handle, and that is overtaken because of all of the text that is here. And I know sometimes we have a lot to say, but we need to get a bit more comfortable and familiar with messaging in a concise manner that gets the point across. And so graphics are not the place where you get to write an essay, a novel, and all of that. If you want to do that, feel free to use some carousels, right? But you cannot fit that all on one page of a graphic. So with that said, I just wanted to give you a little breakdown. I apologize for the background noise, and I hope you enjoyed this little commercial interruption. All right, let's get on with the rest
To
of the
you all.
video.
So anytime you use a template of any kind and you go in to fill in the text, you have to respect the principle of the design, okay? No shade to anybody. You just didn't know. So I'm here to show you so that we could all make the digital world a better place visually. All right? So if you have a template and the header text has 2 words in it, use 2 words to replace it. If the body text has 5 lines, use 5 lines of words to replace it. Don't go in there putting 10 lines of words because that's going to mess up the essence of the design. Now, the messaging or the text is what was used to craft that particular design in the way that it was designed. And so you have to respect that in order to keep the beauty of the design. The design didn't have your 10,000 message um, or ideas in mind when it was created. It was created for the 3 lines or the 5 lines or whatever it may be. So you have to respect that if you're expecting to get the same result visually that you found beautiful when you first selected that template. Now, that brings me to another point. At the beginning and end of the day, we all need to get familiar with sharing our message in a concise and clear manner. Now, I've worked with all sorts of amazing business owners, and a common issue that we come across is the fact that everyone wants to explain from top to bottom what their business is and what it provides. Now, there is a place for that, but it is not everywhere. It's not every design you create that you have to explain A through Z. You need something that is short and concise, that catches people's attention and gives them a quick snippet of what they're going to look forward to. And so you definitely want to spend some time taking all of your messaging and putting it in a concise manner. Break it down to 1 to 2 sentences and then break it down to 1 sentence. That way you can alternate between the two in clearly explaining whatever it is that you're trying to explain. Now, when you sit there and have so many lines of text, yes, you can absolutely have a carousel. But if you're just trying to put all of that on one page of a design, it's not going to work well because it is overwhelming. I want you to look at your canvas or your graphic, the page of your graphic, as breathing space. The white space, the clear space, is your ability to breathe in and breathe out freely. The moment all of the text starts taking up all that space, it reduces your ability to breathe. Now, when you take that text, because you've written so much and you start spreading it to each edge, it's as if someone is falling over a cliff. Your message is literally falling over the cliff because you didn't give it some safety boundaries. You didn't give it space to be safe, to be free. And so anytime you're working with text, you want to make sure that you abide by the rules that you saw first in the template. And I'm going to show you that in a few seconds. And then you want to make sure that you give your art or your graphics some breathing space. Breathe in the same manner that you like to breathe in and out. Your artwork, your graphic needs to breathe in and out too. Because what you don't realize is as people are reading, they also feel a little bit of that pressure because things are not organized in the right way. And so you definitely want to respect that. Now let's head over to Canva. All right, so here we are in Canva, and we're going to play around, right? So I'm going to choose, let's say, a quote. Now, this is nice. All right, so let's say I want to write more than the 4 lines, and I've made it 8 lines. Now, you see, it's already warped the design because it was designed for 4 lines. But let's say, you know, this is what you just have to say, and we got to make it work. What you can do is actually make the font smaller. See, it works that way as well. You can make the font smaller that way. You're not overwhelming the design, and as you can see, there's breathing room all around. But the moment you make things bigger or you don't adjust the sizing and you say, "Hey, let me stretch it out all the way so that, people can see all the text," then it's like, "Oh my goodness, it's a lot." It's on the edges, and in some cases, this can be a really good design if it's, very intentional. But other times it's like, what is going on? Why isn't there a sense of order, a nice aesthetic to it? And it gets very confusing for people, and you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you have an even flow around your work. Now, the same can apply here where we add, again, because it doesn't fit, you try to stretch it out. Don't do this. Instead, what are we going to do? We're going to make the font smaller. Well, that's a little too small. Yeah, we can make the font smaller and then put it back into the area that it's supposed to fit in. Center it a little bit here, and then we're good to go. But again, generally you want to follow the rule of thumb that whatever the number of lines are in that template, you want to respect that, or you want to make the font a little bit smaller so you can fit everything that you actually want to say. But again, you want to make sure that you are making your messaging concise and clear. Nobody wants to read a thesis about whatever it is that you're selling. Grab their attention and then lead them to all the extra details later on your landing page or wherever it may be. And that's our tip for today. Make sure you like and subscribe and share it with a friend. And I will catch you on the next episode. Catch our commercials, and I'll see you next time. Bye.